Melania Trump's dark past continues to surface, and it is getting ugly as Donald Trump's former allies want revenge, not just on Donald Trump, but also on Melania. Also, Melania has been bragging that she won the lawsuit that was filed against her by Michael Wolff, Donald Trump's former biographer. But let me explain to you what the ruling actually says from this Trump-appointed judge, because when you read between the lines, Melania did not win that case, in my opinion. The judge simply abstained from making a ruling, and I think this will allow Michael Wolff to pursue his claims potentially in state court or potentially to rebring his claims in another federal court if he wants to bring it in Florida. Let me break down what's going on here. Oh, and also Amanda Ungaro. Yeah, you know, the star witness who Democrats are ready to bring back from Rio de Janeiro when they control the House Oversight Committee. Paolo Zampoli's ex-girlfriend, the mother of Zampoli's child. You remember Zampoli introduced Donald Trump to Melania at the Kit Kat Club in 1998. He would bring young Eastern European girls and women to the Kit Kat Club. He'd say they're models, and then they would meet the wealthy Manhattan men. That's one of the ways that Melania is telling the story about how she met Donald Trump. Ungaro's out with some new statements as well that I think she's using coded language about Melania's dark past. Let's break it all down. So there's a lot of places where we can start here, but why don't we start with Thomas Massie on his revenge tour against Donald Trump? I shouldn't even say his revenge tour. He's just simply out there getting revenge against all of the Epstein class in general. He's, I disagree with Massie on a lot of things, but he's worked with Ro Khanna, I think, bravely and heroically to get out those Epstein files. Also, he's been outspoken against the catastrophic and unlawful war in Iran. So what did he say yesterday morning? He said, seems like Melania knows what's going on here. And he points to Melania as saying, Melania knows what's up, right, Melania? You know what's really going on here. Listen to what Massie had to say. Let's play this clip right here.
Can we expect you to name more names in the coming weeks and months?
Yes. Todd Blanche is violating the law. There's still millions of files they haven't released. We know from talking to the victims' lawyers that their own 302 forms haven't been released. We know that files have been over-redacted. I have released at least 3 names of billionaires who are implicated in this. I don't think it's possible to get to convictions with Todd Blanche at the top and with the FBI director, Kash Patel, at the top, because they've effectively both perjured themselves by saying that there's nobody else in the files. Even Melania doesn't believe that. The First Lady knows that Jeffrey Epstein didn't act alone. And here's the great thing, Kristen. Whether I'm in Congress or not, the Epstein Files Transparency Act is a law, and it goes on for years. So if we can't get this Attorney General and this FBI director to do the right thing, the next ones who take those seats are obligated by law to release the files that these individuals are not releasing now.
Okay, that was one of Donald Trump's former allies, essentially turned whistleblower, name dropping Melania Trump for what she knows. And Melania will say, all of my messages with Epstein, all of those photos that you saw, they're not real. When you saw me and Ghislaine Maxwell, none of that's true. I didn't do any of that. The photos with me and Jeffrey never happened. That's all fake news, she says. And she goes, don't you dare even bring it up. None of that is true, is what she says. And by the way, this piece that I'm doing right here on YouTube, just to give you the disclaimer, this is protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. I'm giving you my opinion speech. Melania can disagree with my opinion. You can agree or disagree with my opinion, but opinion speech. If you don't like opinion speech, you can stop watching this video. Megyn Kelly, of course, one of the MAGA sycophants, she just laid into Donald Trump and name dropped Melania as well, talking about, isn't it interesting that Donald Trump's out there attacking other people's marriages all the time? She goes, I wonder what Donald Trump's been doing with Melania. We want to talk about marriages. Let's talk about marriages. Watch what Megyn Kelly has to say. Let's play it.
Talk about a glass house. I mean, Trump has cheated on every wife he's had. He met Marla Maples while he was still married to the mother of his children, Ivana.
Right.
It was all over the New York papers. I'm from New York, upstate New York, but I was in New York when this all went down, the city. And he was like being touted, like he was proud of the affair. It was all over the papers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by the way, Ivana, his first wife, accused him of raping her. That she alleged in her first book that he was so angry over the hair transplant he got that she made him get. It was so painful that he raped her. And she later retracted that when he ran for president, but that stood on the books for some time. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm just saying, clearly not a great relationship there.
Right.
And then he winds up with Melania, and if you think Trump's been faithful to Melania, okay, that's great. You got bigger issues than I can solve here.
Right.
But so the nerve, nerve to act, for him to be judging somebody else's marriage or love relationships or choices, it just shows you like he's got chutzpah, I guess is the word for it, beyond. And it was really inappropriate. And it was wrong. It was what he said was wrong on many levels.
And then Amanda Ungaro. Amanda Ungaro has previously said that she knows where the bodies are buried, essentially, regarding Melania and Donald. She was with Zampoli for many, many years. Remember, she was brought here, Ungaro was, by one of Epstein's sex traffickers from Brazil. And she was kind of brought into this whole Epstein class crew. She then eventually met Zampoli. And of course, Zampoli brought in separately Melania from Eastern Europe, made the connection between Donald Trump and Melania, expedited her visa. Remember Donald Trump during the first campaign when everybody had all of these questions like, wait a minute, Melania seems to have lied about her college degree. She didn't seem to get one from Slovenia's university. I think she did a little bit of college but didn't graduate. How'd she get here? How'd she get an Einstein visa? Red flags everywhere about Melania being here. Trump said in 2 weeks, I'm going to do a press conference about why Melania's what her immigration status is. More lies. And remember, Ungaro knows from Zampoli what's really gone on. She knows about these so-called modeling agencies and everything surrounding them. Here's what Ungaro just posted. There are things I never had the courage to say publicly, not because I didn't feel them, but because sometimes fear quietly takes up so much space that you start believing it's normal to live like that, normal to make yourself smaller, normal to emotionally survive instead of truly live, normal to hide parts of yourself just to keep going. And I think it's finally time to talk about it for real. No characters, no rehearsed phrases, no appearance of perfection, just truth. Maybe someone else needs to hear this too. Then she also reposted this. May 2015, Jeffrey, me, and Redacted decided that we love you. When can we come see you? Kira Prokhorova, key Epstein recruiter, dated Russian oligarch. She reposts that and says, OMG, and then posts this email from the Epstein files, May 27, 2015, of this Kira Prokhorova, Jeffrey, me, and blank. Me, who's blank? We decided that we love you. When can we come see you? Kira Prokhorova. I'm just curious who that refers to. Now, this also comes at the same time that you had an individual testify before the Sarah Kellen before the House Oversight Committee. Jeffrey Epstein's personal assistant, Sarah Kellen, alleges 3 men besides Epstein abused her, including former Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine, celebrity hairstylist Frederick Fekkai. The Miami Herald has confirmed us victims never had a chance, she said in testimony before House Oversight Committee. Fekkai and Levine deny those allegations by Epstein's personal assistant. And wouldn't you know, over here, I looked up Fekkai just to see if there were any connections with Melania. Donald Trump, Melania, and Frederick Fekkai hanging out together during Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week Fall 2003. Front row together. Look, if you're in this community, you're paying attention. You know what's happening. And a lot of what's happening, it's directly affecting your Medicare. Plans are being discontinued. Premiums are going up. And the broker you might have talked to probably pushing Medicare Advantage plans, even if they aren't right for you. That's why I want you to know about Chapter. They're the only advisors who compare every Medicare plan in the country. Thousands of people from this community have already used them. One viewer, Kevin in Florida, is saving $2,100 a year. Another, Steven, finally has a plan that covers his dialysis. And for the Midas Mighty, a call with Chapter is free and takes just 20 minutes. So if you're on the right plan, they'll tell you. And if not, they'll help you find a plan that fits your needs. I want you to know that we've gotten such incredible feedback from the Midas Mighty about Chapter. Frankly, it is overwhelming, the positivity that is out there for Chapter. And so I'm so glad to be affiliated with it. I'm so glad you're all having great experiences. So call 82 Medicare today to speak with Chapter. That is 82 Medicare, and feel confident in your Medicare coverage. Now, I want to bring us to, you may have heard about the results in Michael Wolff's lawsuit against Melania. Just to quickly remind you, Melania threatened to sue Michael Wolff for $1 billion, saying that Wolff defamed her in his reporting. Wolff is one of Trump's former biographers. Michael Wolff sued Melania because she gave him a deadline. I'm going to sue you by this date unless you apologize to me, and then I'm going to sue you for $1 billion. I want an apology and a retraction. Michael Wolff said under New York state law, there's something called an anti-SLAPP statute, which allows reporters to sue if somebody's engaging in certain threats that the person believes chills their First Amendment speech. So Wolff was never sued by Melania for defamation. Even to this day, Melania has not sued Wolff for defamation, even though she claims he defamed her. I think that's curious. Remember, she also said she was going to sue Hunter Biden for $1 billion because he defamed her. Notice she never files those lawsuits. She just makes these threats. I think she's I could be wrong. Again, opinion. I think she's afraid of discovery. I think she's afraid of being under oath. So Wolff sues her in state court. She removes it to a federal court, and then she wants the case transferred to Florida, where I believe she wanted to be in front of Judge Eileen Cannon. Unfortunately, in New York federal court, the case was randomly assigned to Judge Viscasil, who was a Trump appointee during Donald Trump's first term, a MAGA sycophant. Judge Viscasil sat on this case for the end of February, March, April, May, and then the end of last week, this Trump-appointed lackey, Viscasil, finally made this ruling. And lots of people were like, oh, I guess she's dismissing the lawsuit that was filed by Michael Wolff. So what Melania did was she took the state court case, she removed it to federal court because she said, since I'm from Florida and you're from New York, that's a legal technical term called diversity jurisdiction. Therefore, and the case is valued at more than $75,000, it belongs in federal court. So up to federal court, then transfer it to a sister federal court in Florida. If the both parties are from the same state, New York, and Wolff alleges Melania is from New York, it stays in state court. Wolff wanted the case in state court. Melania wanted it into federal court. She got a Trump-appointed judge and then moved it over. She wanted it to move to Florida. So lots of people were like, Wolff's case got dismissed. That was the headline. But I don't really think that's actually what went down. And I think the judge made a very bad ruling that could be easily subject to appeal. But that's not what the judge did. And I actually think the judge was kind of calling out Melania and saying, are you going to sue this guy? I'm abstaining from this guy's lawsuit, from Michael Wolff's lawsuit, but you got to sue him if you think that you are defame Melania, or else, why would you make this threat? So here's the New York Post regime media headline. Judge tosses Michael Wolff's lawsuit against Melania Trump, calls it contorted and not how courts work. Then Melania Trump responds, First Lady Melania Trump, I mean, she speaks in that's how she refers to herself. First Lady Melania Trump is proud to continue standing up to and fighting against those who spread malicious and defamatory falsehoods as they desperately try to get undeserved attention and money from their unlawful conduct. Well, Melania, if you feel that way, then why would you go through all of this procedural stuff versus just sue Michael Wolff? If you believe you've been defamed, sue him and sue him for defamation and have your deposition taken. But that's not what's occurred here. When you go through what Judge Viscasil, this Trump-appointed lackey, though, actually ruled, she says, I'm not ruling on the merits at all. Specifically, she says, for the reasons discussed below, the court neither decides this case on the merits nor dismisses for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. Instead, it abstains under Wilson. That's a case called Wilson, where the court simply is saying, I'm being asked to make a declaratory relief judgment, and I can, because you're asking the court to exercise discretion and declare that Melania has violated your First Amendment rights, I'm simply going to abstain. Good luck finding another judge, but I'm out of this, basically. I don't view this as a win for Melania personally, in my opinion. Here's how the judge described it. In this case, a chronicler of First Family sues the First Lady because she threatened to sue him for defamation. While plaintiff and the First Lady have a real dispute, they must litigate it according to the same procedures as everybody else. In other words, the judge is saying, Melania, why don't you sue Wolff? Then it goes on to say, I'll read over here. It goes on to say, the court here does not pass upon the substantive validity of plaintiff's claims. Indeed, as discussed further below, those claims are really defenses and counterclaims, which should be resolved in a posture that presents them accordingly. That is the sole basis of the court's decision here. Recognizing the existence of a case or controversy between the parties, the court merely and specifically declines to adjudicate the merits. In other words, what the judge is saying, I am using my discretion simply not to hear your case, Wolff, as an affirmative case. Melania sues you, then you can sue for counterclaims, and then you can raise these issues. But until she sues you, then you can't sue her. I won't hear that, is basically what the judge said. That's not what Melania acts like she won the case. And I'm reading for you. That's not exactly what happened. Plaintiff, while correct that the gamesmanship identified by the First Lady is not based in the merits, is wrong to conceive of it as a trap door back to state court. Then it goes on to say, it is well settled that where the federal court never could have exercised original jurisdiction over the case, remand is required. I'll just let you hear it in Wolff's own words as well. Let's play this clip.
So she basically had two choices: to remand the case to state court or rule on the case. Functionally, she did neither. So effectively kicking the case out of federal court. So now, weirdly, the case no longer exists in federal court. Where does it exist? So what she may have done, and this is going to be complicated to kind of untie this knot that she's created, but she may have actually effectively ruled against the Trumps without saying so, because effectively kicking the case out of federal court by default puts it back into state court, which is what we wanted in the first place. So, I mean, we never had any illusions that this was going to proceed in a straight line, this case. And we now have to figure out exactly in which way are we going to proceed. Go back to state court, appeal in federal court. But make no mistake, we are going forward with this, and I guess in some sense, and we are back to where we are in this political moment. We will get in front of a Trump judge and then get a much different kind of ruling.
So that's what Michael Wolff said. And my view is, again, the judge just simply abstained and said, Melania, why aren't you suing him? And Wolff saying, I'm not done yet. So that's the status right here. Oh, and I should mention this too, just as a passing aside with all of these Epstein connections, Don Jr. marries Bettina Anderson. Donald Trump doesn't show up. Bettina Anderson, according to the Daily Mail, was trying to marry Elon Musk before Don Jr. We saw Elon Musk in the Epstein files. Bettina's dad, who passed away a while ago, was the guy who helped Epstein get the necessary approvals and loans for Epstein Island by giving Epstein a letter of recommendation. Bettina's dad was a major banker in Florida who had helped Jeffrey Epstein in that way. So you just see all of the connections here together. Melania, your dark past is coming out. Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.